All right, y'all. So as y'all know, the Sony FX5 came out about a week ago, and it set the internet ablaze. And there's a lot of people arguing in the comments saying, "Oh, my camera's better. Oh, the Sony FX5 is too expensive." So I thought it would be fun to go look through some comments on YouTube to see everybody and how they're arguing and how they're responding to not just the Sony release, but to cameras in general. And I want to make a disclaimer: it's all fun. Well, I'm making this video, it's all fun, but some of these comments ain't that friendly. So yeah, man, let's get into it. So Toka 50 Master says the Lumix S1H2 is gonna murder this toy when it comes out. And he's talking about the Sony FX5. So the S1H came out about 6-7 years ago, and there has been no talks about a S1H2 coming out or anything. But I'm pretty sure if they do come out with it, if Panasonic does come out with one, it's going to be great, but it's not going to murder Sony because Sony is already legitimized. Now, once you make it into Hollywood, we know how slow Hollywood is to change things because they're still using PL lenses, and those aren't the best lens mount anymore, in my opinion. So yeah, Sony is they legit, man. I don't see really nobody overtaking the throne of Sony. But anyway, and I don't even use Sony. Someone says if Lumix was really that good, they would have Sony's market share. Should be your response. I was an avid Panasonic user. These bugs out here killing me. Well, not killing me, but these bugs out here biting me. I was an avid Panasonic user, but they're just boring and they're not in high demand. And they're in 5th place. Someone was saying how Lumix was better in this comment. And this person responded by, well, if Panasonic is so good, why they're in last place? And Panasonic, y'all need to do something about that too, man. Because if you stay in last place too long, you end up going out of business like Olympus. So y'all need to figure it out. Another comment it says, bro, cope. The Sony sensor in your Lumix is outdated. And he was responding to Matthew Dangu. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. And Matthew is a avid Panasonic supporter on YouTube. He made some great videos about Panasonic, about how Lumix gives you all the features that you could possibly want in the camera. So he's really trying to push Panasonic forward. But, you know, Sony, Canon, and I believe Blackmagic are the only 3 camera businesses that make their sensors in-house. And Panasonic and I believe Nikon buys their sensors from Sony. So when you're buying your sensor from another company, then you really are under their control and power. You have to wait on them to release something before you're able to release something. So that's never a good thing. Lumix has a smaller market share, but they're diehard dedicated fans who would commit murder on Panasonic's command. So it probably works out okay. So if you haven't been in any of these Panasonic groups, man, I'm telling you, it's worse than Democrats versus Republicans. They'll cuss you out. They'll talk about your mama. They'll say your dog is ugly. They'll do everything if you talk about their cameras, their Panasonic cameras. And I did the same thing, honestly. When I got my Fuji X-T3, everybody was saying, oh, the Sony A7 III is better. You made a bad choice. I was cussing people out and everything. I was like, who are you to tell me, after I done spent my $1,500 of hard-earned money on this Fuji camera, that another camera is better than me? But I was young, I was inexperienced, and, you know, I'm pretty sure these people here are, maybe, hopefully, they're young and inexperienced too. Fanboys just hump whatever leg everyone else is humping because it seems popular. And he was talking about Sony fanboys. So you have some Sony fanboys out there, but Sony makes great cameras, man. Sony's been killing it ever since the A7S II. Ever since then, especially when the A7 III dropped, they just been killing it. They know how to market. A lot of companies like Panasonic don't know how to market. Canon really doesn't market well anymore. I feel like Canon has a arrogance to them, like people are going to use our cameras. All we have to do is put something out. We can cripple it how we want to cripple it. We cannot put IBIS in our C50 and people are still going to buy it. But Sony isn't like that. They're trying to give you everything that they can while still trying to keep it at an affordable price. And that's one thing that I love about Sony. I personally wouldn't shoot Sony anymore because I used the A7 IV and I didn't really care for it. But yeah, man, Sony made some great cameras. They're killing it right now. Sony has become Apple with iPhone fanboys, and Panasonic is Samsung with, we already had those features. And I'm pretty sure you've seen these comments everywhere. Panasonic people saying, oh, we've been had IBIS in our cameras. We've been had open gate In our cameras, we already had internal raw recording with the G87 and the S12. But it doesn't matter who's first in the camera industry. And I'm pretty sure the Panasonic S1H2, if that ever comes out, will be the first mirrorless camera outside of the Blackmagic 6K Pro that has internal NDs. But it doesn't matter if you're first because people are not going to switch. Well, not enough people to make a difference are going to switch to Panasonic for that reason. Because within 3 to 6 months, Sony, Canon, and other companies are going to reverse engineer and then start putting internal NDs in their cameras. So all you have to do is be patient. So yeah, man, it doesn't matter who's first in the camera industry. And especially if you're investing in E-mount or a mount system and you have like 5-10 lenses, it'd be dumb to switch camera brands opposed to just being patient. All right, we have a comment from Mark Bone. Mark Bone says, go shoot. Every camera right now is 10 out of 10. Remember what we did with the Canon 2Ti back in the day? And Mark Bone is really saying the camera really doesn't matter. At this point, all cameras will give you great image quality. Now it's just a point of efficiency and quality of life improvement with cameras because anything made in the last 10 years, you can make films with it. And you have to think, let's take the Nikon ZR, which I'm filming on now. This camera is better, or the Sony A7 S3 or whatever you want to pick, is better than the camera that they use to film Terminator with or Titanic with. And look at those movies. You don't need a camera that shoots in 12K, 20K. You don't need a camera that does 4K 120. You don't need global shutter. If you look at a lot of movies, most of them have rolling shutter in the movies. If you pay attention, I think just being spec crazy is a way to not go out there and make something. And I believe this is what Mark Bone is saying. You can film, and I know you don't like to hear this, you can film a movie on your iPhone or your Android phone. You really can make a movie on your tablet if you wanted to. So the specs aren't everything. Find a camera that you love and that you like, that makes you want to pick it up and go shoot. And that's why I left Panasonic, because they make great cameras. They're reliable, but it didn't inspire me to film. This Nikon ZR, I haven't put it down since I had it. And I love it. I love everything about it. Well, not everything, but I love the image it puts out. It's fun to use. It's quick to start up, and it motivates me to go out there and film. Comment from Field Sports 202. Most of these new folks in this field are only shooting for their IG and YouTube pages, so they have all the time in the world to complain. YouTubers masquerading as professional filmmakers and videographers has been a disaster for the industry. I don't like content creators either because they bother me and it makes the whole industry feel cheap, but they do have their place. I will say that they do have their place. So yeah, I'm not really mad at this comment here. Okay, so we're about to be taking some shots at Panasonic right now. So Panasonic users, buckle your seatbelts. I use all the brands and formats and the G9 II, the S5 II, and the X, and all are very solid, well-designed bodies. I personally have never seen another G9 II user ever. I have never seen an S9 anywhere. Very few cameras in Canada carry any Lumix products. The Panasonic website is always sold out, half of the lenses and bodies. They don't play well on the Pro front and some software. The Panasonic, I'm paraphrasing, the Panasonic market seems to be existing users and camera enthusiasts. And that's one of the reasons why I left Panasonic, because they're just not marketable. They're not like in high demand. I've never been on a film set either personally where people say, well, you have to have Panasonics. Are you using the EVA? Are you using the Panasonic S12? Because the whole production is filmed with Panasonic cameras. And it doesn't matter how good your camera is. If people don't know about it, they're not going to use it. And people do find out about it and realize how good it is. They're probably already embedded in Sony land or in another system. So people are not going to switch systems just for a few features. And if you do, then you're probably just insecure if that's the only reason that you're switching systems. And that means you're going to be switching every year. So I've used Lumix several times in the past, and it's always been my least favorite brand. And somebody responded down the line, are you slow? The S9 Panasonic can't compare in any way to any of these cameras, duh. I don't really like the S9 either. I know the YouTube filmmakers and the content creators like them and street photographers, but I don't really care for that. Panasonic needs to make a dedicated cinema camera, take the EVF off, go ahead and copy off the C50 and the FX3 design, or do something different because these hybrid bodies aren't working. It's hard for Lumix to compete with the company providing their sensors. LOL. So if you didn't know, once again, Panasonic buys all their sensors from Sony. And if Sony just wanted to shut down, Panasonic would have to either go to Canon, Blackmagic to get their sensors or start making another one. And when you're relying on somebody for a specific part like that, it's not good because you really don't have much power in the game and you're relying on somebody else. So Panasonic, get it together, man. I'm pulling for you, but get it together. No one uses Lumix in Hollywood or any major film studio. That's a fact. Panasonic is unfortunately trash. I have an S5 II and I will be moving to Nikon or Sony. Now the S5 II Mark II isn't trash. It's a great camera, but it does have a crop in 4K 60, which is annoying. The autofocus isn't the best. People saying that it's good are only saying that because there was coming from a contrast-based system. I did have it overheat one time, even though it has a fan in it, but it's not trash. And it's probably one of the best cameras you can get for around $1,000. Best full-frame cameras. One of the best to me. Not trash, but the brand is horrible. I would be a fan of Panasonic if directors use this Lumix for a movie, just like FX3 for the creative film. The FX3 is still king. The FX3 is still king in the mirrorless space. And I'm not a Sony fanboy. I don't use Sony. Don't plan on using Sony. But once your cameras start making it to Hollywood and people start using it and they see how good it is in low light, how reliable it is, the branding behind it, other brand manufacturers are cooked. So someone got mad at somebody and they said, go to the gym. And I checked the other person's profile and, hitting the gym may not be a bad idea every once in a while, 2-3 days a week. Some of you guys are so obsessed with specs, it's unreal. And there are some spec freaks out there that's saying, no, I want 8K 120. I want a zoom lens from that's 16 millimeters to 100 millimeters of f1.4. It's people out there that's literally, some people out there make jokes, but some people out there really want every spec and they're still not gonna film. It doesn't matter what the camera is, how perfect it is, what type of specs it has. It can shoot at 8K 500 frames per second and it only costs $100. They're still not gonna make nothing because they just wanna either buy cameras or talk trash on the internet. Sony stinks and always will. False. Tiempo Film ICO says, or Filmico, this honestly is so ignorant and dumb. And people were just arguing in the comments. And he responded by saying, this thread is just dumb. Which it was, but it's fun sometimes to go online and see what other people are talking about and try to pump your camera up to let people know, hey man, come join our ecosystem. It's really like a game, if you think about it. All these camera wars is really like a game.
For all the brothers that done died out here and for all the homies that's laid up paralyzed, I need to know, man. So tell me, brother, what the fuck we killing each other for?
Colors.
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 Colors. Colors.
We killing each other over person.
RCVWY4X says, don't be arrogant. It's the last step before getting corrected. Now, this user sound like he gonna pull up on somebody if they keep talking trash because there's a lot of Twitter warriors online. So I won't be talking stuff to RCVWY4X. So Inlut Whack, I guess that's how you pronounce it. So this was in a thread and he says, terrible take. I hope you are cursed to live in between 30 data centers. Now that's some real Old Testament stuff there. I hope you are cursed to live in between 30 data centers. That's worse than being called a jive turkey, in my opinion, once again. So when the FX3 was released, everybody was dropping their videos. And this person says, I love the coordinated FX3 killer messaging coming out of multiple YouTube channels all on the same day. Armando Ferreira, he don't play. He said, that's right, we're shillionaires, keep on hating. Our bank accounts just going to keep getting bigger. Mondo said again, LOL, you're brain dead, bro. I've been using the FX3 for 4 years, and I'm not trying to influence anyone. Back to Panasonic, I've never had a production ask me if I had a Lumix. I am constantly asked if I have a Sony FX line. I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but if you're using Panasonic cameras, I would sell it because I believe personally they're gonna be out of business, the camera department, in the next 5 years if they don't do something big. And I really just don't see them overtaking Canon, overtaking Sony, or overtaking Nikon, honestly. So I wouldn't keep investing in the camera systems. You can buy the lenses because a lot of cameras take the lenses. Well, a few cameras like the Blackmagic Pixels, which I currently own, takes the L mount, but I wouldn't buy another Panasonic camera to save my life. So Mr. Continuity was responding to, I forget the YouTube person he was responding to, but he said, I feel like I heard you say the same exact things about the Lumix S1 II. You called it your baby airy, kind of like the FX5. Oh yeah, this is to Mondo. You called it your baby airy, kind of Ari, kind of like the FX5 is a baby Venice. And someone responded, he did, meaning he did say the same things. All these reviewers will sell their ass. Woo! He did. All these reviewers will sell their ass for a brand deal, LOL. I don't believe he was laughing. Maybe he just put the LOL there. But a lot of these reviewers will sell a body part. Some will even sell their kids for a brand deal. And it's pitiful. This person here, I cut it off. Can't find his name. Why did y'all give the man? Okay, this was on a Philip Bloom video here. It says, why do y'all give this man so much respect? He is not even the ASC SMH. And the ASC is a American Society of Cinematographers. He was saying the YouTube platform gives Philip Bloom too much respect when he's not even a, I guess, great Hollywood cinematographer. All right, we have one for the Nikon ZR King himself, Brandon Talbot. And if you don't know who that is, you have a Nikon camera or a Red camera, I really suggest you go and look at his YouTube channel because he made some great content for the Nikon, shows you how to set it up and everything. He was responding to somebody about a Sony FX5. He says, man, that reboot time for a frame rate change is kind of weird. S in the video. I haven't seen that mentioned in a handful of other videos I've seen. Then someone else responded, okay, but is it true the camera reboots anytime you change the codec, frame rate, or resolution? Which it does. Sounds insane, but I've been seeing that in reviews. Mark Bone responded, I don't know. If it does, I didn't notice. Now, come on, Mark. You know you lying, but he's a Sony ambassador, so he's probably not going to say nothing bad about the camera. But that's why it's hard to trust reviewers' opinions, because Mark Bone is a person who will thoroughly test a camera. And to say you don't know if a camera reboots when you're switching to a different frame rate, and if it did reboot, you didn't notice, you re-notice a 10 to 15 second reboot, Mark. Come on now. Scalable Link Interface says, I can't take people that shoot with gimbals all the time seriously. And this aspect ratio is ass. It's ass, Mark. It was on Mark Vaughn's video that he did with the FX5 release. Scalable says your aspect ratio is ass, Mark. I like the video. Unrelated, but Mark Bone would be a really good porn name. Mark Bone. Weird, but okay, makes sense. Sony can just release any camera anytime for any price and people will go crazy. Hey man, Sony killing it. They make great cameras. The brand is there. They make exciting cameras. All their bodies don't look the same like a lot of other brands. And they're pushing the industry forward. And I know you're saying, how are they pushing the industry forward? They're getting their cameras into Hollywood. Isn't that the whole point, to get it into places where more films will be made? Imagine if someone made a film with the C70 or with the Panasonic S5. Wouldn't that encourage you to want to go out and buy that camera or to support that brand? Of course it would. ShellTuber doing ShellTuber things. Hated the Sony and trashed Sony. Then switched to Lumix. Now switching back to Sony. Monobite says, LOL, I used the FX3 for over 5 years. Never hated Sony. Nobody hated Sony. Keep getting mad. Wait till you see what I switch next month. So Mondo is playing a game with them, because sometimes you gotta get, you gotta stand up for yourself in these YouTubers, man. Cam Mackey, another good filmmaker, says he's back. I'm not sure what video this was. And Andrew Williams 4623 says, your work is too dark. Boo. Hey Cam, you gotta start adding some lights, man, to the scene. All right, a fun one from me, because, you know, I get into it too. Sony users can't high key light, LOL. Great footage, my man. And I was responding to somebody who did a Sony release. And if you look at a lot of Sony footage, all of it is, I can't say all, but most of it is dark, moody, and it seems like everybody's using the same LUT. Either the Phantom LUTs or the LUTs Danny Gewirtz is making. So I put Sony users can't high key light anything. And you're probably gonna be, if you see a Sony film, it's probably gonna be in the desert, in the mountains, by the ocean, by the water, or in another country, because, you know, that's what Sony users do. All right, another response to, they like Mondo up. Unknown caller 4739 says to Ramondo video, he's hard to look at, but great video. Mondo just responded, thanks. You know. Don't worry, 6672 made a comment on Western Approaches video, glazing them, Sony, for increasing the prices crazy. In which Western Approaches responded, I'm not sure he understands what glazing means.
Glazing can be defined pretty easily. It's simply the latest term to describe what happens when someone goes too far in showing how much they like someone or something else, to the point of being ridiculous. Previous iterations of glazing include meat riding, brown nosing, kissing ass, and sucking up.
But Western Approaches made a video saying that the price increase for the FX5 really isn't that bad when you account for inflation. And yeah, if you look at it like that, but wages hasn't increased either. So the Sony FX5 is expensive. But if you're making money from it every month, then it really ain't no big deal. So stop all the glazing, man. Are you a donut? Anyway, okay, wait, 3382 says, boy, shut up. Use your camera and get to work. I'll go cry that the sky is falling. Cave P2 says, is that the kind of attitude towards others you want to be remembered for? I believe he's taking the high road, if I'm not mistaken. Content M383-3893. I think you complain too much. Yeah, most people do. All right, we're getting to the Leica now. 100% Leica users. 100% Leica users like to act like their cameras are the second coming of Christ. They do less than the competition for significantly more. Leica users are stuck up, and they're usually older people who are set in their ways and feel like their work is better. So I agree with that. Someone made a comment on this person's video. Don't trust this guy. He only started this YouTube channel in February 2026, and he's already overhyping the Nikon ZR. Paid YouTuber by Nikon. It is a lot of people out there, but this person here had a older channel. He just made a new channel, so he's been putting in the work for years. But there are a lot of people out there who, you know, they just want the money. They don't care what they have to do to get the money. And there's always going to be people in that's like that. Not just in the camera industry, but in life. You're going to meet people who just want to climb the corporate ladder, and they will cut you out the way by any means necessary to make that happen. But he responded later on in the thread, your comprehension is smooth brain like. I'll let y'all read the rest because he just killed them with that. Your comprehension is smooth brain like. You have no wrinkles in your brain, man. You need to learn something. All right, so now we getting into the Nikon ZR group on Facebook. And Mary, we got a woman in the chat, says, and it's beautiful. When you buy a product, you know what it is about. You don't start complaining it doesn't have this and it should have that. You bought it as is. End of story. I am so sick with all those people asking for an open gate and so on. I agree. But I also think there are some updates that Nikon needs to put into the camera. Now, whether they do or not, it's not my choice. And I still would like the camera, enjoy the camera if they don't. But Burnett is making a comment saying people will never be happy, and soon they're going to start asking for outrageous things in their camera. Of course not. They're going to ask for it to record 12K every RAW, to be able to connect to VHS, Google Car connectivity, and I'm sure someone will come up with something else. And if you've been in a Nikon group, people are making outrageous claims of things that they want. It's like, it didn't come out with that. Nikon never promised you that. So why are you expecting it to have uncropped 4K 120 or all these other features that may be too intensive for the processor? So when you buy a camera, Look at the lens mount. Say, do I want to buy this lens mount? Look at the other cameras around it. Say, are there other cameras that I can build around this one camera? Check out the reliability of it. Check out the storage, how much storage it takes. Check out the image quality. Rent the camera. Then when you rent it, you see that you like it, then you buy it. Come on, people. It's easier to complain than to develop skills. Truer words could not have been spoken. All right, here's a thread by Johnny York and some other people. This was in the Nikon group too. Always posting the most stupid hypotheticals for comment engagement. I'm free. You're not going to believe this, but you're allowed to scroll right by the posts you don't like on this free website. Yeah, I didn't escape Cuba to let a guy tell me stupid for posting on Facebook, call me stupid for posting on Facebook. You escape Cuba to chase engagement on Facebook? Ditto, simp. Yeah, simp. Like I'm simply the best? I get it, totally agree. So these are some of the things that you can expect when you're going into the Nikon group. All right, y'all, I got an ND filter on the camera. I'm about to take it off real quick. It's getting kind of dark out here. This was one of the features someone in a Nikon group requested. No, it needs to please me sexually as well. I've never thought of that. Please add this, Nikon. Ha 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 ha. Now either Ronald Lee, Alice Lay, Ramier Johns, or a little on the freaky side, or maybe they're just kidding. Who knows? Who knows? If you find your HDMI port on your Nikon ZR wet, these are the people you need to go find. The problem isn't your camera, it's you. You suck at photography. Skill issue. And we're gonna leave on one of my comments. So someone posted in the Nikon ZR group and he was being sarcastic about something. Then he proceeded to post a video he shot, music video, and used the animation that he made from Google Gemini. How do I know it's Google Gemini? Maybe because of the logo at the bottom of the screen. So I commented, looks like shit. And at least take the Gemini logo out of the right bottom. Sloppy AI filmmaking. Now, I don't like AI filmmaking because I feel like it's going to open the doors to a lot of trash. And I'm not sure what type of laws will be put in place to make sure AI films don't go against real films that are made by filmmakers, because making a film is hard. Just finding a good location to film it is hard. I drove around for 45 minutes just trying to find a location because I was going to certain places. It was too loud, too many people. So I settled on this location here. And it's not the best, but it's behind the church. And that's just one aspect of filmmaking. So filmmaking is hard. And for people to try to make it cheap by making AI stuff, then integrating it with, I say generative AI, because some AI tools are useful, and try to integrate it with films, then try to claim themselves as a creative. No, I will march. I will protest in the street. I will go to the Capitol. I will storm the Capitol. Well, probably not storm the Capitol, because it only works for one race of people. But anyway, that's another story for another day. But yeah, I do not believe in AI filmmaking. Mosquitoes is biting my leg up out here, chewing me up. So yeah, man, those are some of the comments that goes on in the world. And I'm beginning to think that people in camera brands could be up there with Democrats and Republicans in politics, because I've never seen so many people get so defensive about a camera that they're not gonna buy or that they don't like. If you don't like a camera, say, oh, okay, I don't like it. But don't be talking about people's kids, talking about people's family, calling people out their names and stuff, because they use a different system than you. You know, all these systems are great, and all these systems can get you to where you need to be in your filmmaking journey, but you have to put the work in. So yeah, man, that was comments on the internet. I'm not sure what the title of this is gonna be, but next time we'll be doing some AI comments, because there's a lot of people that have things to say about AI. So yeah, man, see y'all on the next one.